1957. A Friday in October. Indiana. A 16-year-old stands in her grandmother's mirror in a cotton slip while her mother leans in the doorframe, already talking, not asking. A circle skirt hangs pressed on the closet door. Aqua net and Pond's cold cream in the air. A boy she's spoken to 3 times is 12 minutes out. She already knows every rule. Nobody gave her a list. She learned the way all girls learned, by watching what happened to the ones who didn't. Number 15. Every girl carried emergency cash hidden somewhere on her person. Her mother insisted on it. It was called mad money. A folded dollar bill tucked inside the left cup of her bra, or a dime for a payphone call taped to the inside of her compact mirror. Her mother put it there at the front door, 10 minutes before the boy arrived. No long explanation, just the bill pressed into the palm and a look that said, "You will not need this, but you will have it." A cab ride home from the drive-in would have cost $2 or $3 in 1956, well out of reach for a dollar bill. She felt that folded paper against her skin all night long. It was not spending money. It was escape money. Her mother had learned why a girl needed it. She never said how. Number 14. A girl never ordered the most expensive thing on the menu. She waited to hear what he suggested. She never ordered first. Howard Johnson's 1957. A hamburger steak at 65 cents. A fried clam plate at $1.10. She wanted the clam plate. She ordered the hamburger. If he said order anything you like, she still reached for the middle of the menu. She let him pay and never reached for her purse. She was not being modest. She was proving she would not cost more than he could afford. In a decade when a boy's pride was the most fragile thing at the table, a girl learned to protect it before she learned to drive. But the rules about who opened the car door started before she ever sat down. Number 13. She waited. Car door, restaurant door, movie theater door. She did not touch a handle. If he forgot, she stood and waited longer. The passenger side of a 1955 Chevrolet Bel Air in a gravel parking lot. Hands folded over her clutch purse, the click of the chrome handle from outside, the skill of entering a car in a full skirt without showing her knees. 17 magazine printed the technique: sit on the edge of the seat first, then swing both legs in together. It was not helplessness, it was choreography. He proved he was raised right. She proved she expected it. The door was never the point, the standard was. But the one thing she had to do before he arrived was the rule nobody discussed above a whisper. Number 12. A proper girl wore a girdle on a date. It was not optional, not a suggestion. A girdle, even if she weighed 105 pounds. A Playtex or form-fit girdle from the junior department at Sears. $2.95. Rubber and elastic that compressed the waist and hips under a cotton dress, the snap of elastic against the thigh. Garter tabs hanging below the hem to hold up her nylon stockings, the restriction of a full breath. The way sitting down in a restaurant booth required a slow, controlled descent. Her mother wore one. Her older sister wore one. A girl without a girdle was a girl without structure. That word meant the same thing in clothing as it did in character. But the clock held her life. And every girl knew what happened when it ran out. Number 11. Her curfew was set by her father. 10 o'clock for most girls under 16. 11 for upperclassmen. It was not negotiable. Not by 5 minutes. The porch light on. A father's silhouette behind the screen door. the boy checking his watch at 9:51, the sound of a screen door latch at 2 minutes past 10, the look on her father's face when she walked up the steps. Not anger. Inventory. Of her hair. Of her lipstick. Of the distance between her body and the boy walking 3 steps behind her. If she was late, the next date did not happen. Not because she was grounded, because the boy was told not to come back. The curfew was not about time. It was about who owned the authority. Something worth pausing on here. Every one of these rules put the girl in charge of the evening's boundaries. She chose what to order, when to sit, where to place her hands. The boy drove the car. The girl drove the evening. That was not a contradiction. That was the design. These rules were not restrictions. They were her mother's way of handing her a script for a situation where she had very little actual power. The rules were armor dressed up as etiquette. Number 10. A girl did not telephone a boy. She did not pursue. She waited. If he did not call, she had her answer. The black rotary telephone on the hallway table, a party line shared with 2 other households. Her younger brother listening from the top of the stairwell. When the phone rang at 7 on a Wednesday evening, every person in the house understood what it meant. She answered on the 3rd ring. Never the first. The first ring sounded desperate. The 3rd ring sounded like she had been busy doing something else. She had not been doing something else. She had been sitting next to the phone since supper ended. She could not chase. She could only position herself to be found. That was the whole game. But if she wanted to make sure he called again, there was one thing she absolutely could not do on the first date. Number 9. A nice girl did not kiss on the first date. A girl who kissed on the first date was a girl who might do other things. That label followed her through every hallway in school for years. The front porch, the yellow bug light above the door, her mother's shadow shifting behind the living room curtain. He leaned in. She turned her cheek. Or she smiled and said she had a wonderful time and reached for the screen door handle. The precise geometry of a half-step backward on a concrete stoop. Ladies' Home Journal said it plainly in 1954. A girl who gives her kisses away has nothing left to negotiate with. She was 16. She might have wanted to kiss him, but what she wanted and what she was allowed to show were 2 different things. But the rules inside the car were even more specific. Number 8. A girl sat against the passenger door. She did not slide to the middle of the bench seat unless they were going steady. The distance between them on that vinyl was a public announcement. The wide bench seat of a 1956 Ford Fairlane, room for 3 across the front. She sat with her clutch purse between them like a velvet wall, knees together, angled toward the door. If he stretched an arm across the back of the seat, she made a decision in that moment that could define the next 4 years of her life. The radio dial glowing green, Pat Boone or Elvis Presley, depending on which side of that seat she chose. Every inch of that bench was a negotiation. She had been taught to hold her ground before she was old enough to understand what she was protecting. Number 7. A first date was a double date. 2 couples. A girl's best friend and her boyfriend came along. A single date with a boy she barely knew was simply not permitted in most households. 4 teenagers in a 1954 Chevrolet heading to the Dairy Queen on Route 9. 4 Sundays at 30 cents each. The backseat couple serving as witnesses and chaperones without anyone using those words. The safety of another girl in the car. The particular relief of a shy girl who could let her best friend do the talking. It was protection disguised as a social occasion. Her parents did not say they did not trust the boy. They said it would be more fun with friends, but there was one rule that governed something she could not control, and it was the most dangerous one to break. Number 6. A girl on a date did not drink alcohol, not a sip. One drink and the protection of every other rule on this list disappeared. A bottle of Schlitz passed around the front seat at Miller's Point. She held it for half a second and passed it on without raising it to her lips. Or she asked for a Coca-Cola instead. A 7-cent bottle of Coke from the cooler was her shield, the particular pressure of a boy saying, "Come on, it is just one sip." Her mother told her this exactly once. If you drink, you are no longer in charge of your own evening. That sentence did not need repeating. It was the most honest thing any woman ever said to a 16-year-old girl. Notice what is happening. Not one of these rules was about obedience. They were a survival manual built by women who knew what could happen to a girl with no leverage and no exit. These mothers were not moralists. They were strategists. Every rule was purchased with someone else's bad experience. So they said, sit up straight and be home by 10. Today, 46% of women under 30 report feeling unsafe on a first date. These mothers knew that danger 70 years ago. They had rules instead. Number 5. For a school dance, a dinner, or any event at a hotel or country club, a girl wore short white gloves. They came off to eat. They went back on after. Cotton or nylon wrist-length gloves from the notions counter at JCPenney. 50 cents a pair. The particular tightness of pulling them over damp fingers on a warm evening. The way the cotton stretched smooth across the knuckles. The formal act of removing them one finger at a time before picking up a fork. The soft shine of white cotton under gymnasium lights. Those gloves said something no other accessory could. They said this girl comes from a house with standards. In a decade when class was everything, a 50-cent pair of gloves did what a $100 dress could not. The gloves showed her standards, but the next rule revealed her character. Number 4. She thanked him for everything. For the door, for dinner, for the evening. And many girls were expected to write a short thank you note the following day. A piece of folded stationery from a Woolworth's box set. 10 cents for the box. Blue ink from a fountain pen or an early ballpoint pen. Dear Jimmy, I had a lovely time Saturday evening. Thank you for the movie and the ice cream. Sincerely, Donna. Dropped in the mailbox Sunday morning. 3 cents for the stamp in 1957, though it went up to 4 cents by 1958. The boy found it Monday afternoon. His mother saw it first. That note told his mother everything she needed to know about the girl her son was seeing. The note was not politeness. It was a petition. She was not just thanking the boy. She was introducing herself to the household. She was asking, without ever saying so, to be invited back. But there was one subject she was never supposed to mention, and it governed the entire evening. Number 3. A girl did not ask what anything cost. She did not comment on the restaurant or the tickets. She did not offer to pay. A movie ticket at the Rialto Theater, 50 cents a piece in 1957. A box of Butterfinger popcorn at 15 cents. He paid at the window while she studied the coming attractions poster 3 feet to the left, examining a movie lobby card while a boy counted coins from his trouser pocket. The tip he left at the diner, a dime on a $1.50 check, and her trained blindness to every penny of it. Money was his vulnerability. Her job was to make him feel like he could afford to be generous, even when he could not. That was not deception. That was mercy. And every girl who understood it was doing the hardest emotional work of the evening. She never saw the check. But the next rule was the one that was never written down in any magazine. Number 2. When a girl accepted a boy's class ring or his Letterman jacket, the entire school knew within 24 hours. She was off the market. A class ring from Jostens, which cost upwards of $20 to $30 in 1958. Gold-plated, far too large for her ring finger. She wrapped the band in pink Angora yarn from the 5 and dime until it fit snug against her knuckle. Wore it on her left hand. His Letterman jacket with the chenille varsity letter on the chest. Wool body, leather sleeves, heavy on her shoulders between classes. The smell of his Brill cream and gymnasium sweat pressed into the satin lining. Everyone in the hallway read that letter the way they read a headline. It was a public contract. She wore his identity on her body, and in return he did not look at anyone else. If he took the ring back, the whole school witnessed the breakup in real time. There was no private ending in 1957. Every heartbreak had an audience. The ring told the school she was taken. But the rule that came before every ring and every dance was the one her mother never had to say twice. Number 1. A girl's reputation was the single most valuable thing she carried. It was assembled in public and demolished in whispers. Every rule on this list existed to protect it. Once it was gone, no amount of good behavior could purchase it back. A whispered word in the girls' restroom. A glance exchanged between two mothers in the produce aisle at the A&P. The silence that dropped over a cafeteria table when a certain girl's name was mentioned. She could lose her reputation by being seen in the wrong car at the wrong hour, by standing too close to a boy under the bleachers at a Friday night football game. Not for what she did, for what it looked like she might have done. A girl labeled fast in September was still labeled fast in June and the following September. Her mother knew this because she had watched it happen, maybe to a friend, maybe to herself, 30 years before her daughter was born. She did not explain the rule. She lived it into her daughter the way a woman packs a suitcase for someone headed somewhere dangerous. Every rule on this list was a stitch in the same garment, and the garment was her good name. 15 rules. Not one of them written in a textbook, not one of them taught in a classroom. They passed from mother to daughter in kitchens and hallways, and in the 10 quiet minutes before the doorbell rang. They were not fair, they were not gentle, but they were not foolish. They were built by women who understood exactly what a girl was walking into every time she walked out that front door on a Friday night. And they handed her the only protection they had. Somewhere tonight, a woman in her 80s is sitting in a living room watching her granddaughter get ready for a date. The girl is staring at her phone. The woman is watching the door. And she is biting her tongue so hard it almost bleeds, because every rule she ever learned is rising in her chest, and she knows that not one of them will be welcome.